So I'm so excited to welcome one of the most successful immigrant CEOs that I have been introduced to through a mutual friend. I am very excited to be interviewing Thach Nguyen, who is the number one, can I say number one, or like one of the top Seattle real estate agents. You are also an author, and you also are a dream energizer, and just all around amazing guy, great on video, and just so inspiring. So thank you and welcome for being on the show.
I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So you actually have a very exciting story. You came from Vietnam to the US and you have a really interesting story. So I'm going to mix it up just a little bit. So obviously immigration is like a really hot topic right now. So what would you say to immigrants who are kind of on the fence about coming to the US?
To live, to work, to visit? What are you thinking?
Everything. Maybe buy a house. Maybe they're not sure about buying a house in the US.
Well, I would definitely say just traveling because, I travel to Asia a lot,
Yeah.
And I would say that if you have the opportunity to come to the United States, you should definitely take advantage of it because it is definitely the land of dreaming big. And anything is possible over here if you know how to create it. You have the mindset to do it. You have the relationship with people around that can help you do it. And there's nobody over here that really can actually stop you from dreaming big. Now, like I have cousins and everything in Vietnam. There's only a certain amount of things you can do to dream big in Vietnam because at a certain point, there's a ceiling that there's people over there or Democrat over there that are basically just saying, nope, you can't do that. Or, we don't like that, or we want to get paid this, you know what I mean? So there's a ceiling. And that I see that in China, I see that in the Philippines, I see that in Korea, I see that everywhere. So over here, it is a land of opportunity and you can dream big and nobody can say you can't do that.
That's awesome. I'm going to actually use this as a soundbite because that was so good. I love that you said that. So, and you actually went from like living in homeless shelters with your family to becoming a multimillionaire and in between going through a lot of stuff. So, can you share with us, like, what were some of your thoughts when you first came to the US as a child? Like, do you remember what you were feeling at the time? What were you going through?
I remember my dad coming home from work. Well, actually, he didn't come from work. He called home and said to my mom, "Hey, pack up. The communists is coming in and taking over South Vietnam. Pack your bag. We're going to leave the country." I remember we was all in the Jeep driving to the airport. We blew the tire twice. We missed the plane. And then the next morning, we all got up early. We met his boss. My dad worked for the U.S. military. And we was in this U-Haul truck. There was a whole bunch of people in there. They shut the door because they didn't want nobody knowing we evacuated the city. We drive to the airport. We got up to the airport. They opened the door. There was massive people running everywhere trying to get on the plane. And then I remember we just landed in Camp Pendleton. Not as much as I remember there, but then I remember us being transferred from Camp Pendleton in San Diego up to Camp Murray in Washington. And I remember staying there in the shelter. I remember, basically that was like home for us. And, when I look back today, my mom was 30, my dad was 34, my mom was 29, and there was 5 kids, little ones, and then my mom was pregnant with my sister. Wow. So you can imagine that's why, when I see, especially young Asians, right? Yeah. Sometimes they are so hard or so rude or disrespectful for their parents. And they don't know Asian folks, man, they go out of the way so much for their kids. It's crazy. And so that was, I remember those moments in the camp, just hanging around this camp, playing on the dirt floor, playing outside. And we just thought that was just normal.
That's an amazing story. I think it's, yeah, like you said, like a lot of the things as children, we learn to start from the bottom and we realize, this is how it is. And now you have a really thriving real estate career, and you were actually one of the youngest people to start. So what kind of, obstacles do you think were like the biggest challenges that you had to overcome to, reach that career success that you have now?
Yeah, for sure. I started into real estate in 1991. I was 21 years old. I was the youngest agent ever hired in this Washington state. And I remember my first 3 years, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get started. And, I got the basic logistic of real estate and all the forms, but I didn't know anything. And then I met a real estate mentor. His name is Mike Ferry. He's in Newport Beach, California. And he taught how to go out there and be proactive and know your scripts and dialogue and go out there and knock on doors and find people versus waiting for someone to call you, because no one's going to come knock on your door in sales. So I remember I hired him for coaching, and he inspired me to go out there and start knocking on doors. And so I was young and hungry, and I remember I used to get dropped off from my wife, Cammie, like 8:30 in the morning, and then she'd drive the car off because then she'd know that I couldn't actually get back in the car. So I would door knock from like 9 o'clock in the morning to like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 hours a day. And I made 100 flyers, and I door knock. I told myself I'm going to commit to knocking on 100 doors a day, 5 days a week. And so one of the biggest challenge I had was English wasn't my first language. And so there's a lot of things that I said that I still have accent. There's a lot of things I said that's probably not proper English. So I remember knocking on people's door, and they used to say, go learn how to speak English before you come and knocking on my door and try to ask me to sell my house. And I used to remember they say stuff like, I used to door knock neighborhood that's very dominant, the rich American people versus the minority. And they used to always say to me, you know what, you don't belong in this neighborhood. Go knock it somewhere else. I remember this one old man said to me, don't come and knock on my door and be rude in my house, and go somewhere else. And then he opened the door and let his dog out. He said, go get him. You know what I mean? I remember I used to door knock in an area called Seward Park. And Seward Park is a lot of Jewish people that live in this area, right, in Seattle. And I remember a real estate agent even said, hey, man, those are my turf. Don't be knocking on the doors in my turf, right? Go knock it somewhere else. That's my turf. And, he's Jewish, right? That's my turf, and those are my people, and go knock somewhere else. So those are a lot of different challenges that I used to go through when I was young. I was young in the business. And, of course, 21 years old, you're like a kid in this business. And you're out knocking on door, and customer and agent just wasn't appreciating a young Vietnamese kid out there trying to actually be in this business of the sale. And it took me probably, I would say, a good 5 years just to begin to believe in myself and have faith in myself, that faith is going to work, to begin to build thicker skin so I can deal with rejection. So it took me probably at least 5 years to be able to get to that point where when people throw rejection at me, it bounces off my skin. Wow. Because that's the hardest thing in sales, is to build thick skin for rejection. Rejection from races, rejection from, rude comment, rejection from giving you different kind of objection. People will say to me, I'm not interested in selling, but they was thinking on selling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm so glad you shared that story with me, because I think it's like the older version of YouTube trolls. So that's great that you shared that. So I'm just curious, like, you're going there every single day 100 times. How do you deal with it? Because I've had people call me names, but some part of me is still like, oh, you guys suck. But how do you deal with that? Did they ever change your mind and buy from you? I don't know if that ever happened, but how do you process that?
Yeah, I guess. I had people that worked with me and they went and buy somewhere else. I had people that said they're not selling, and then a week later the house go up for sale. That's definitely part of it. I would say, see, back then I was so hungry. And I think today a lot of people in this generation coming up, they're not as hungry. Okay? My two kids, Russell's 12 and Hudson's 10. One of the things I do not want to do for them is to make it easy for them. I want them to be hungry. Even though I am successful, they can have pretty much what they can have, but we're not making it easy for them to have it. And so I was hungry. My mom and dad didn't have any money, so I wanted nice clothes, and I wanted nice cars. I wanted nice shoes. And so for me, at that time when I was young, my goal was to make money so I can have stuff. Mm-hmm. And so at the beginning of my career, of course, it was all about me. Make money so I can provide for me. And that was enough for me to stay focused, stay on course, and just look out there on what it is I want. And every time I get rejected, it is part of the process. But since I'm so clear on what I want, I kept moving forward toward what I want. And today, when I see a lot of people out there, two things what caused them not to stay on course. One, they're not super clear on what they want. And two, they're not as hungry as they can be.
Hmm. That is some really good advice. I'm just curious, as a parent, as an Asian dad, how are you raising your kids to be more? This is something that I only hear from Asian people. Like, I want my kids to struggle. I want my kids to build some sort of a character, right? So I'm just curious, like, from a parental point of view, like, how are you kind of like, what are some of the things you're doing with your kids to make them, I don't want to say like you, but just like give them that hunger?
Of course. That's a good question because I have a lot of Asian friends, and I can tell you, I love Asian people. That's my people. But honestly, they make it way too easy for their kids. They're wussy. They have money, and they actually want to just give money. You know what I mean? And so I'll give you an example. I live in a neighborhood that's very expensive. And there's a lot of Asian kids that live in my community, and these kids play sports. And unfortunately, one of the things that I wish Asian people would do more is I appreciate they come over here and they want to work hard and they want to provide and they want to leave a legacy for their kids. And the problem is that they work so many hours that they ain't even at their kids' baseball match. Mm-hmm. They ain't even at their kids' soccer practice. Right? And so to me, what are you working for? If you're working so you get to the end of the road, so one day you die, you give to your kids his legacy, but what your kids want is everything in the middle. From the time they were the kid until the time you die. And everything in the middle is really the precious thing. Now when you die, oh, here's this big old pot of money, kids. My kids, I already told them already, when my wife Cam and I die, they got to get a very small amount of the money and the rest of it go to charity. So I'm not giving them all the money.
Okay. That's awesome. I think that's what Warren Buffett does too. Like he's, pledging most of it. So that's great that you're really raising your kids in the way that, going to turn them into really great human beings. So that's great. Because there's a Chinese saying that says like riches don't go beyond 3 generations, which I think is an education problem. So that is great. So can you share with us, so you work with a lot of immigrants as well, and you take them through the process of home ownership. What were some of the common pitfalls that foreign buyers face? So, when they listen to you, they're like, oh, okay, I can avoid that and, contact you. What were some of the mistakes that you've seen them make from overseas?
I tell you the biggest mistake they make. In Asia, they're so used to negotiating everything.
Yeah, I can see where this is going.
And they come over here, and when they come over here, today's time, the real estate market is so hot that you be lucky to buy it at list price. Yeah. You gotta pay more. So Asian people, they die when they have to pay market price. They really die when they have to pay more than asking price. And so what happened is they let their ego get in their way of actually owning a house because they get stubborn. They go, I don't want to have to pay more than 5, 10, 20, 100 grand over asking price. That's ridiculous. Forget it. Let's go look at another house. And they go look at house after house after house after houses, and it's just the same process in a market like this. That is the biggest thing that the Asian folks come over here, and when they buy stuff, especially real estate, and I deal with them, is because they have to get used to the culture of, in real estate over here, supply demand, and they have to pay more. In Asia, even though supply demand is tough, but if you're somebody in Asia, you're gonna get a deal. That's just how they roll. You know what I mean? Over here, I don't care if you're Jackie Chan over here in Seattle, you ain't getting the house at this price. They got, matter of fact, charge you more. So that's probably the biggest problem in Asia, in the United States, when the Asian foreigner come over and buy property, is they have the mindset of they need to get a deal. And the problem is that they lose great houses over and over until finally they realize, you know what, I got to go ahead and step up.
That's a really, oh, sorry, go ahead.
The second thing I was going to say is that I see is that they think they can find a house faster if they talk to multiple real estate agents. When they don't realize if they can build a deep relationship with a good agent, that person can do a better job than 10 inexperienced agents.
That's so true.
Today, I have a lot of foreigners that come over and invest in real estate. And it's funny when they invest and they want to invest in real estate, their criteria of finding the right agent or the right broker or the right developer is even more higher standard because they know they don't want to lose their money.
Right.
So it's interesting how it works for the buyer themselves. They have a lower standard, but when they start to invest millions of dollars into real estate, they want to make sure they get the right person to actually park their money. Otherwise, they lose it. And it's different. It's interesting how they think.
That's a really interesting point. I didn't even think about that, but it makes sense. Like, I have not been to Asia for quite a while, but I can definitely understand the mindset there. So, so in your 20 years of, real estate experience, what was like the most surprising things that you learned in your career?
Well, let me just say it from the aspect of a real estate salesperson, because I sell real estate. I also buy houses and I fix them and I keep them. I also build brand new houses for sale, and I build apartment buildings to keep. So I have all facets of real estate. In the business of sale, well, the biggest thing I learned in sales is that either there's two groups of people you know and people you don't know. If you want to be successful, you have to spend more time prospecting and calling the bigger group, which is the group you don't know. If you want to be average, you just call the people you know. The problem is the people you know, there's not that many. And so in sale, if you really want to be successful, you have to work both categories, people you know, but you got to spend a lot of time working in the category of people you don't know, because there is a bigger pool of people out there, and that's how you're going to be really successful. You got to go out there and prospect and knock on doors, make phone call to a lot of people, especially people you don't know. And when you do that, you got to learn how to build rapport with strangers. If you don't know how to build rapport with strangers, then it's going to be a tough selling business for you.
Yeah, and you actually built rapport with like 500 people in a week. So that is some amazing practice. And that also kind of reminds me, because, Asians, we love saving face, right? We don't want to, be embarrassed. And you actually went out there, did it every single day. And I work with some of the people that I work with, and they don't want to lose face. They don't want to talk to strangers. They don't want to, lose a bad deal, as you say. So what advice would you give to people who are very concerned about their image, or maybe let's say they were PhDs or business owners in their home country, and they got knocked down a few pegs here because they have to start over? What would you say to them?
I'm going to say something very profound, in my opinion, and hopefully someone understand what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's not about the success I've had all these years. It's not about them having PhD. It's not about any of us. It's about others. It's about inspiring, empowering others. It's about making a difference. I see myself today, and everyone should see themselves really as an instrument to be used to the fullest when they're on this planet to make a difference in this world. So when you see from that perspective, you're not that significant. You're not that important. You're not that person. You put yourself in this pedestal. So when you actually get rejected, you get hurt. The other thing I want to say is nobody's that important that someone is constantly looking at you, because they don't have time to be focused on you, because you know why? They so focus on themselves and all the problem they have. There ain't nobody looking at you. So I used to think that, man, I don't want to go out there knocking door and fail. I don't want to declare big goals and fail because people be looking at me. And what's funny, I realized nobody's looking at me because they're busy focusing on themselves and all the problem they're going through. And so my thing I will say to people out there is that if you want to be successful, you got to get over that you're not that important. We're just an instrument to be used to the fullest, to make a difference, to be an example, to be successful, not for us, but to inspire others out there, people that are our generation now and all the generation that's coming up. So that's how I look at myself. I don't have a problem out there and doing things. I'm falling on my face because I have no problem being transparent and say, you know what, I tried it and I fell on my face. And you know what, guys, here's what I learned and here's what I'm doing to get back up. People want to see that, hear that more than, oh, I don't want to declare something, you know what I mean? I want to fail, you know, because then people look at me and I'll be embarrassed. Nobody's winning from that.
I love this. I might just make a sound clip of this and send it to all my clients who are scared to kind of
do that.
Awesome. Cool. So one of the things I like about these interview series is, like, you know, people come from all over the world, and, you know, I'm a Chinese woman, so I kind of know my culture, but there's so many, you know, other cultures out there. So what are some of the aspects of, I think, Vietnamese culture that you incorporate into your life, and what are some of the American cultures that you incorporate into your life?
Well, today, one of the things, it's funny because when I was younger, coming up, growing up in America, you know, we almost feel a little embarrassed about our own culture because we want to try to fit into their culture. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you don't want to really take pictures of, oh, I'm eating, you know what I mean, pho, football weight, right? And I'm eating some of this. And so today I'm very comfortable again, because it's not about me, it's about other. Today, when I have all my American friends, right, especially even the rich people, right, even the rich one is the one that's more exciting, right? So I'm a really rich American friend. I'm like, yo, you guys, when you come to Seattle, I got a great place. I'm going to take you to eat dinner. And they think we're going to go to the highest place in Seattle, the steakhouse. Then I take them to a hole-in-the-wall, wonton, Vietnamese restaurant place. And you know what they say? This is the best dinner I ever had, ever. So that's how I'm learning to adapt my own Vietnamese culture into the American culture is I'm not embarrassed of the food we eat, the language we speak. Matter of fact, fuck. So for a lot of people that don't know, this, if you actually pronounce it P-H-U-K-H-A-U, if everybody just look at it and pronounce it, right? It's
you can say it, yeah.
Right? It was a funny thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's the saying I've been saying for a lot of people, if you want to learn how to dream big, you got to learn how to forget the how, because everyone get tangled up in how, and they never declare what they want. And so I said to my friend, forget the how. My friend thought I said, fuck how. Instead of spelling it like the American way, I spelled it the Vietnamese way. P-H-U-K doesn't exist. P-H-U-C exists in Vietnamese, and it sounds like fuck. And fuck mean good luck.
Oh,
And
so what does this
how-
shirt mean? Like,
so basically, so there's two ways. One, Phúc Hào, meaning good luck.
oh, okay.
But the branding saying that, hey, if you want to learn how to dream big, forget the how, AKA Phúc Hào.
That's amazing. Can I get it? Can I buy a shirt? Where can I buy it?
If you go to phuchao.com, we have a whole site on it.
That's awesome. All right, I need to write this down just for myself.
The American people see that, they think, did he say fuck how? Right? And I say, yes. If you want to learn how to dream big, forget the how.
Oh my God.
Fuck how. And then I say to them, but in Vietnamese, it means good luck.
That is so funny. I'm gonna go to that website and grab that shirt. If people who are on the podcast who are confused, check out the video.
Check out the whole video explaining this whole thing on phuchao.com.
Phuchao.com. That's great. So, and I do have a question about immigrants, because I've talked to a lot of different people, and some of the people who are saying, oh my God, it's not worth this, and people who are saying, yeah, it's always worth it. So what kind of advantages do you think immigrants have in the U.S.?
I think a couple things. The biggest thing. This is what I noticed with minorities, that they have over the Americans. We have work ethic. We can outwork 10 different American people in the United States. The only thing is that Asian, there is a I call it the creation process. The creation process says you have to be before you can do. You got to do before you can have. Be, do, have, right? Yeah. You heard about that, right? Be, do, have.
But I didn't think about it from your perspective. That's really interesting.
So you think about, we have to be a human being to do the activity, right? So nobody do human being. We are being human being, doing the activity, right? Asian people are all about doing, not about being. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay? Now, how we have an advantage in America, we outperform doing. That's why American people love to hire Asian, because they work 10, 20, 15 hours a day. They have no problem. But who they are being sometimes as a parent is they're not present. They're not there a lot of time for their family and their kids, because they're always doing. So the advantage for Asian in the United States is we are a master at doing. If they can learn how to be and combine the two together, they will have what I call a very healthy, wealthy, happy, balanced life.
Wow. That's amazing. I hope you're writing a book on this, or maybe you already wrote it. I don't know.
I'm actually telling you the story, so we can actually write it.
That's awesome. That's great. I love that. And so let's kind of switch it around, because, there are a lot of people listening, and I do think America is an awesome place. What kind of advantages do you think Americans have that immigrants can learn from?
Community. I love my Asian people. When you move into a community, Asian folks are so busy always working that sometimes a lot of them, if you ever notice, if you go to Little Saigon, it looks different from the outside than you are when you're in Newport Beach.
That's true. I love Westminster, though.
Right? It is more expensive. All right? They take more pride in their community. They spend time, keeping the house looking nice from the outside, keeping the landscaping. They spend more time on things like that. And then they get more involved in the community and speaking up on what they don't like and like about the community, so that they can actually make the community better. Asian folks basically saying, I'm just gonna keep it to myself and not say nothing, and they don't go to community outreach, they don't go to community things to make the community better.
That's so true.
Now, I sit on Asian board and I sit on the American board, and that's the one thing. Even I sit on the Vietnamese community, right, in Seattle. And in the Vietnamese community over in Chinatown and the Vietnamese town, we try to get all the business owners to come out and share their frustration, share the things how to make community better. And you know what? They don't come out because they're busy working.
This is so good. It explains a lot of the things in a very elegant way, because I was thinking about that, but you put the nail on the head. So that's great. So how can we continue the conversation with you? How can we find you online? How can we buy houses and sell houses with you?
All right. So if you go to thatchwin.com, that is my real estate website. Okay. You can go there. Follow me on Instagram, Thatch Win on Instagram. You can also follow me on Facebook, Thatch Win on Facebook. Okay. And then I have a free online Facebook community called Springboard to Wealth. Is where I teach a lot of people how to create wealth through, with money, and how to create wealth with balance. Because to me, wealth today is, number one, is health. Wealth to me today is family. Wealth to me today is balance, is relationship. Of course, money's in there. But if you ain't got health, you got no wealth. You got no relationship, you got no health, right? Wealth. So if they go to facebook.com/groups/springboard-to-wealth.com, and to a T-O, springboard-to-wealth.com, then they can join that community. And I post daily on thoughts and idea, inspirational, and this kind of conversation to help people create wealth in the aspect of money, relationship, health, balance, all that on there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the tips that you've shared. One of the most valuable and smart interviews I've done so far. I can't pick favorites, but it's my show, whatever. So thank you so much for being on this show, and hope to have you on future episodes to come.
Absolutely. And then next time when I come to, I'm going to be doing a seminar down in Newport Beach and things. So I'll make sure I tell Stacia and yourself to come through.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day.